So with the release of GTA 6 being just around the corner, now's the sort of time where we can start thinking about what impact GTA 6 will have on the industry as a whole. Now in this video, we're going to go through the short-term, long-term, and industry-wide effects that we can expect to see from Grand Theft Auto 6, and we'll also dive into some of the areas of the gaming industry that this will affect that you might not expect. But before we get into today's video, I'm trying to get to 10,000 subscribers, so if you could take a couple of seconds just to tap that subscribe button, it's massively appreciated. So the first thing we need to talk about in this video is the short-term effects and what we can expect to see within the first month or two of GTA 6's launch. So it's no secret that other games developers are currently a bit cautious about GTA 6 and also the release date plus announcements from Rockstar, because any games developer that makes any announcement at the same time as Rockstar or even releases a game at the same time as Rockstar is going to be completely overshadowed by Rockstar Games. Rockstar Games are one of those developers that are just a league above anything else. I mean, to some extent, they make EA look irrelevant. And a prime example of this is one of the most anticipated games of the last 10 years is Skate 4. Skate 3 was a game changer for the whole industry, but not many people know that Skate 4 is currently in active development, and I will be doing some videos on that soon. But all of this GTA 6 buzz has just completely overshadowed some games that have been highly anticipated by many communities. So when GTA 6 is launched, whether that's going to be early next year or late next year, of course we don't know yet, but when it is launched, you won't hear any news about any of the games, and that's just because the media are going to report on things that you want to hear about, and more often than not, we're going to be more interested in news about GTA 6 than anything else. So if any games developers are currently working on a game that's looking to release next year, I really feel for them, because their hard work is for the most part gonna go missed. Not completely, but of course it's gonna be completely overshadowed by the elephant in the room, which is GTA 6. Now let's talk about the long-term effects. Now for this segment, which is the long-term effects, I'm mainly gonna focus on the technical aspects. So the graphics, frame rates, whatever it might be, but the actual general performance of the game on a console, on a PC, whatever it might be. With Rockstar being ahead of the curve in many different respects, everything that we've seen from the first GTA 6 trailer has made us very aware that firstly, it looks incredible, but secondly, there's so much diversity, whether it be from body shapes to skin tones to locations. There's so many different things going on that stimulate our brains. So when we're watching it, I mean, they put so much into that trailer. I mean, I've managed to build a career off the back of that. Thank you, Rockstar. Love you long time. And it's also insane how far they've taken the graphics and the graphical ability. Now, we know that Rockstar always over-delivering the game versus what we see in the trailer. Every single game that we've received graphically has looked better than the trailer. For example, trailer 1 and trailer 2 for GTA 5, the actual game release looked way more incredible. And I've seen some people dispute this, but if you start pixel peeping, the actual game itself does look better than the trailers. And overall, GTA 6 will become the benchmark for the industry. So the conversations in the industry will start to change. People will start benchmarking their development work and the aesthetic of their games versus Grand Theft Auto 6, which when we had Grand Theft Auto 5, this very philosophy of benchmarking against GTA 5 did a lot of wonders for the industry, because people looked at GTA 5 and said, okay, well, how can we do the animations better? How can we do the physics better? How can we make the characters look better, look more realistic, look more believable? The industry as a whole looked at that and went, okay, let's try and do that better. And with GTA 6, every other game developer out there that makes similar sorts of open world games is going to be looking at that and going, okay, how have they done this and how can we improve upon that? No games developer out there, no good games developer I should say, wants to release a poor quality product. They will look at what's out there and they'll try to deliver a bit beyond that if they can. Now of course Rockstar have pretty much unlimited resources, within reason of course, so maybe some of the games developers can't even get close, but there's certain elements of GTA 6 that other games developers will look at and they will try and improve upon. GTA 6 will become the new standard for the industry and games developers will look at that and go, okay, well, we need to do better, which overall makes the whole gaming space better. Now the next thing I want to talk about is an attitude shift in the industry, which is long overdue. For as long as games have existed, people have looked at the hardware that's out there and tried to make a game as compatible and as smooth as possible on that hardware. Rockstar Games are one of the few developers that don't do this. They'll make a game to be the best game it can be, and then they'll try and cram it into whatever hardware is most compatible. But the most important thing is, let's make it as good as it can be. A prime example of this can be seen with Mike York talking about this topic. Now Mike York used to to be a developer at Rockstar Games, and he actually worked on GTA 5. And one of the things he spoke about a few months ago was basically how GTA 5 was crammed onto the PS3. That console was being pushed way beyond what people thought it was capable of at the time, and that's where people started having issues with overheating and stuff. Not a lot of people, but that console was being stretched, and if your console was even remotely defective, GTA 5 was a struggle for it. And also, something worth noting here, the PS4 version of GTA 5 was actually the version that Rockstar Games were working on and making, but the PS4 wasn't ready in time for the release of GTA 5. So it came out on the PS3, but the PS4 version, that high resolution, way better quality version, already existed. That's what Rockstar were trying to achieve in the first place. And the same goes for the PC version. Of course, when we got the PC release, that was the GTA 5 that they wanted to deliver. They just had to deliver that slightly watered down 720p version for the PS3 because that's where the industry was at the time. Rockstar like to focus on the game rather than the industry. They'll make the best game they can, and unfortunately the industry has to catch up. And a little footnote that I want to add in here before we get on to the next point, I think that GTA 6 is probably ready now, give or take some final polishing touches, but I think it works in Rockstar's favour to wait till we get the PS5 Pro and maybe the updated Xbox that's coming later this year that may have some slight performance benefits, because it might allow them to turn on some settings such as ray tracing, for example, and just give us the best performance possible out of GTA 6. I feel like if GTA 6 just came out on the PS5 and we had to wait a couple of years before we actually got like the full resolution proper one with ray tracing and all of that stuff, I feel like that wouldn't be Rockstar's goal. In a previous video, I covered how Sony predicted their sales figures for next year on the PS5, and as soon as the GTA 6 trailer dropped, they slashed those sales figures, and then of course we started hearing all of this news about the PS5 Pro, the leaked specs for the console. So I feel like there's been something going on between Sony and Rockstar where they want the PS5 Pro to coincide with the launch to get that better performance out of GTA 6. If you want me to do a separate video diving a bit more into that synergy and how Rockstar and Sony have worked together over the years, let me know down in the comments below, because that's something that I actually would be quite interested in looking into a bit more. And the next point I want to cover is games design and how Rockstar's games design sets a precedent for the whole industry. Now with Rockstar's latest release of Red Dead Redemption 2, we can see that Rockstar is starting to move a little bit further away from that linear storytelling model. Of course, it's still relatively linear, like the story has a start, middle and end and there's chapters, but Rockstar have added more diversity in their storytelling, but also they've tried to shift it from here's a funny story to here's an engaging and interesting story that gets you captivated, and it makes you feel like you're watching a series or a movie. Now there aren't many games developers out there that can really nail storytelling. I think Naughty Dog and Rockstar are the only two companies out there that have really captivated a massive communal audience with their storytelling. Of course there's others out there, but for me, you know, The Last of Us and GTA 5 and Red Dead Redemption 2, they're like the three games for me that go, okay, here's a story that's trying to be told. Now with Red Dead Redemption 2 and Rockstar moving away from this linear storytelling, this gives us a little bit of insight of what they may be aiming for GTA 6, a more complex and diverse playing style which allows multiple stories to be told in different ways and maybe even different missions to be carried out in different formats to give as many different unique experiences as possible while playing. For example, you may be able to play the game from start to finish again and have a different result, or play missions in a different way. Now with GTA 6 and Rockstar pushing this to the forefront of the industry, this then sets a precedent for the rest of the industry to go, oh, okay, people like this format, people don't want linear missions anymore, how do we develop our games to be a bit more diverse in the way they tell stories? And the next point is investment into the sector. Now this is a really complex one to go into, and I'll try and skim over it as fast as possible. But most of these gaming companies aren't funded by gamers. They're not funded by individual tech nerds that have decided to set up their own games development studio and they're all self-funded and it's all indie games. The industry is moving away from that now. For example, with Rockstar Games, they're owned by Take-Two Interactive, and Take-Two Interactive is a company with a significant amount of shareholders trading publicly on the stock market. Some of the biggest banks and investment firms and hedge funds in the world have shares in Take-Two Interactive and therefore have shares in GTA 6. Now when GTA 6 launches, it's no secret that it's going to sell like nothing else, with predictions of sales being $1 billion in the first 24 hours, or even a couple of $1 billion in the first 24 hours. No one really knows, but if these other investment firms can see that the gaming industry is generating this much money, this will encourage other investment firms to invest into games games developers, which means that games developers will have more money to play with when it comes to developing games, which overall, for the most part, we might get better games out of that, because more resources can be thrown at games in the future. So overall, Rockstar Games have been one of those developers that have defined the industry with every release. We have pre-GTA 5 and we have post-GTA 5. And with GTA 6, we'll have post-GTA 6 and pre-GTA 6. Every time Rockstar releases a new main AAA title, the industry does change and revolve around it. So for me personally, I'm really excited to see what industry changes we can expect to see when GTA 6 comes out, and overall how it's going to benefit us all as an industry. So thank you all for watching today's video. If you want to become a member of the channel, it's only a couple of dollars a month and you get some additional perks, as well as your name mentioned at the end of every video. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.